What would you do if your airplane suddenly dropped 300 feet, with mountains just off your wing? That's exactly what happened to pilot Jim on what started as a beautiful VFR flight. One decision kept a scary situation from becoming an accident. Pilot Jim was flying his Piper Archer on an IFR cross-country trip through mountainous terrain. The weather briefing looked great: clear skies, excellent visibility, and only moderate winds. As he cruised at 8,000 feet, the scenery was incredible. Everything felt smooth. Then, without warning, bang! The airplane lurched upward, followed immediately by a sharp drop. Jim tightened his seatbelt as the wings rocked violently from side to side. He wasn't in a thunderstorm. He wasn't in clouds. He had flown into mountain turbulence. Jim quickly remembered what his mountain flying instructor had taught him. Strong winds blowing across mountain ridges create invisible waves of rising and sinking air. On the downwind side of a ridge, powerful downdrafts and rotor turbulence can become severe, even on a perfectly clear day. Instead of fighting every bump with aggressive control inputs, Jim stayed calm. First, he slowed the airplane to maneuvering speed, VA. That reduced the stress on the aircraft if a strong gust suddenly hit. Next, he maintained a gentle attitude rather than chasing altitude. He accepted small altitude deviations instead of making abrupt corrections that could overstress the airplane. He contacted ATC and reported moderate turbulence and altitude deviation. Then, Jim requested a higher altitude to see if he could climb above the worst of the mountain wave activity. ATC approved the climb. Within a couple thousand feet, the ride became noticeably smoother. The rest of the flight was uneventful, but Jim never forgot how quickly mountain air can become dangerous, even under blue skies. Invisible air current flowing over mountain ridges can cause havoc with maintaining altitude due to moderate to severe turbulence. Lessons learned. Mountain turbulence doesn't require storms. It can occur whenever strong winds flow over ridges and peaks. Before flying through mountains, always check winds aloft, not just the surface forecast. If you encounter turbulence, slow to maneuvering speed. Keep your seatbelt securely fastened. Avoid aggressive control movements. Accept small altitude changes from the turbulence. If on an IFR flight plan, let ATC know immediately of the altitude deviation. Otherwise, for VFR flights, accept small altitude changes. If conditions worsen, ask ATC for a different altitude or change your route. The smoothest looking day can hide some of the roughest air. The safest pilots don't just watch the weather, they understand how the terrain changes it. Because every safe landing begins with good decisions in the air. Subscribe to our channel and visit mystudentpilot.com for real-world pilot survival tips that could save your life. Also download our free pilot emergency action cards. Link in comments and description.